so much. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty fired up. How are you guys feeling? This is pretty awesome. I think this is especially exciting, coming through the pandemic and where we are right now. And I don't know, I think the first day I was ready to get back at it. So I'm pretty excited to be here. I made some notes. So I wanted to give you, because some of you guys know me and some of you guys, this is going to be your first time. This is your first event. We've never met. So I wanted to just start with, when I was a kid, I knew I wanted to do one of two things. I thought that I wanted to be a singer because I wanted to entertain people. I knew that really, really early on. I also thought I want to be a doctor because I wanted to heal people. And the problem that I personally ran into, and I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this, but I could not see myself in my life doing any singular thing. I felt like I was good at a lot of stuff, but I wasn't passionate at one singular thing. And I used to think there was something wrong with me, and I would be jealous of the girl that was a dancer and all she wanted to do was dance and she couldn't see herself doing anything else because I wasn't that passionate about anything. But what I did know was that I really wanted to help people. And I knew that if I could find something in my life where I could help another person or other people, that I would feel purposeful and I would be happy with my life. So that led me to the nonprofit sector and church work, which I did for just over a decade. And I worked mainly in counseling. So one of the things that I realized was that I was a game player. I like to play games in that I didn't have to be defined by my job, but that I could define my life. I could, set my own goals and dreams, go after them. I could change my mind about anything and go for that. And, that gave me purpose and I love to help. So in 2013, I moved out of nonprofit sector. I now had to support my family, my new baby. And I worked several jobs, kind of trying to find my way. I was really in need of change. I was looking for something. And in 2015, I was introduced to WFG. So I started in May 2015. When I started, I was initially really skeptical of this business. It wasn't something that I immediately jumped at or thought that this was where it was going to happen. But I saw that what we're doing here for people was really important and that everyone could benefit from it. And that's actually when I met Michael Coleman and my entire life changed. I can honestly say that when I met him, I felt like in this person I could find someone that I can connect with, that I can trust. I've made this joke before, but Michael Coleman's the kind of guy that I would ride into battle with, I made a joke that he could tell me Zoe, we're gonna go into the business of selling bottle caps. And I'd be like, that seems like a really limited market. Maybe that's not the best idea, but I'd still do it with him because it's Michael, right? And I think that's so important because when I look at it, there's people in my business Fear, my MVP. I feel the same way, and I hope he feels the same way about me that I do with him, that we could really do anything together, So anyway, so I made that connection with Michael, and I was just really coachable. So whatever he tells me I need to do, I'm just gonna do it, right? So anyway, that's how I started. We told the story of, I really just did what he said. And I had a good success early on, right away in the business. So let's talk about serving clients. I think that I'm uniquely good in this aspect of the business, specifically from my nonprofit counseling background, because the over 10 years I spent doing that gave me tremendous experience working one-on-one with people, right? Connecting with them, caring about them, understanding them. So there's a couple of things that I'm gonna tell you guys that I think especially for the new people or people here that run into, I don't know if any of you deal with this, but you go in, you sit down with a family, You do their financial needs analysis and you find that they make exactly what they spend, or they spend more than they make, and you walk out and the only thing, and you're gonna offer them the business, right? Because you wanna help them make more money, but you know that you can't make money for them, right? And when you look at the numbers, none of the numbers work out. How are you gonna do this? But these people need to protect their families, they need to save, they need to invest, right? So what I've found, and this is in almost every situation, is that no matter how much money a person makes, they have no money, okay? There's this, it's almost this law of the universe that we make what we need and we spend what we make, and we try to spend more than we make. Very small percentage of people that doesn't apply to. I found that I have clients that make $30,000 a year, and I have clients that make $1 million plus, and they all have the same problems. They all make what they need, spend what they make, try to spend more than they make. They have debt. The millionaire has nicer stuff, usually more magnified and amplified problems, and a lot of times more debt. So how do we deal with that? Well, the first thing that you have to understand is that accountants, they deal in numbers, we deal in people. And there is this X quality factor to working with an individual and getting them to see that they need to save and invest at the same time as handling their debt. And I don't know about you, but I've had the objection that I need to pay off all my debt first before I save. It makes logical sense, especially if they're paying 29% interest on credit cards, right? There's no investment that's gonna out-earn the debt, so I must pay my debt only first before I start and do anything. But the problem with that is it's the same problem as saying, I'm gonna start my diet tomorrow. It never comes, right? And debt was a solution to a problem that shouldn't have existed in the first place, right? If the person had money, they wouldn't have gone into debt in the first place. And this is something that I learned early on, also from my experience in the field, but also Michael Coleman once explained to me. He said, you save and invest concurrent to paying your debt down, because at some point, they're gonna pass like 2 ships in the night, and your debt is gonna be down here, and your money and your assets are gonna be up here. And the thing about that is that if you don't save and invest concurrently, you're gonna play this endless cycle of debt, getting into debt, paying it off, getting into debt, paying it off. And I literally have sat down with people in their 70s that are still paying debt that they started early on, maybe in their teens and 20s. So it's so important that when you're dealing with someone, that you actually sit down and you enlighten them and you help them get a handle on whatever their problem is, right? Whether it's debt, whether it's they spend exactly what they make, and you get them to see that and you coach them on a gradient. So one of the things that I explain to people is debt. If you look at debt, guys, and we're gonna tie this back into my counseling background, right? When you look at debt was something that's in the past, right? They're now paying for something that has already been spent, right? And when your attention is in the past, it creates this certain amount of psychotic or psychosis, right? And if you can only think paycheck to paycheck, week to week, month to month, and only your bills, right? You're stuck wholly in the present, and that causes you to have a certain amount of neurosis, right? So what we're dealing with all these people is that they're psychotic and neurotic on their finances to some degree. And that's why you can't talk sense into these people sometimes. They can't see anything else, right? But now that I tell you that, right, think about what is it that we do for people, and this is where you should get really excited. We sit down with people and we help them figure out what they want in the next 1 to 3, 3 to 7, 7+ years. We get them to actually stretch their vision, look at what their goals and dreams are, what their ideal life looks like in comparison to their current actual existence, and we start them on that track. We bring sanity to people, because being able to create into the future is the definition of sanity. So we handle these things for people. We are so important, and we are so much more than I think any of you guys really understand what it is that we do. And you know, I I'm so happy to be in a business where we get to make money with people, not just on people. Whether you're working with clients or associates, you realize, yep. You realize that we do better, they do better, we do better, right? It's pretty amazing. I actually have a client, and this is one of a handful of clients, that I started at the beginning of my business. This was maybe 6 years ago. I sat down with this guy. He was making $60,000 a year. He had $100,000 plus in credit card debt, high interest, okay? I got him to see this. I got him to see that he needs to save and invest concurrently to handling his debt. We got him on a plan and a program to get rid of his debt. A year later, he was making $100,000 a year, and now he was in like $60,000 of debt. A year later, he's making $150,000 a year. He had $30,000 of debt. Yeah. When I started with him, he was doing $200 a month or something. Every time I sat down with him, I got him to do a little bit more. Last year, he made about $2 million. He is now saving 6 figures a year. That's what we do. That's literally what we do. We make friends and we solve problems. And if you guys can create these relationships with your clients, and you're gonna be able to be part of that journey with them, and that's gonna be your story too. You realize that in this business, your ability to make those income jumps are even more than most places that you could ever go. So that is my main message here. I just wanted to say that the people that I've built this business with are really my closest friends. I consider them family. And the people that I connect up with here, you guys are my friends and family. We love you. I love you too. And I think it's so important to just care about your people, care about your clients, care about your team, care about your associates. Love them despite reasons not to. Coleman's the best at that. Even if I'm not doing what he says, he still loves me, and then I do what he says. Jeff is great. He really challenged me, actually. I realized it was less than a year ago, and I've almost doubled my income since the last time through WFG. He was even teasing me. Thank you. He was even teasing me about my external, income. And actually, it was really funny because I was getting distracted, and I was making pretty good money outside of WFG at the same time, right? And it was really funny. So I almost doubled my WFG income, and then I spent a little less time. I still have that other income coming in, which is really awesome. But it's just I realigned a little bit and my focus. And it's also listen, hanging out with a guy that does so much better than me stretches my vision. It's weird when you go back to Clearwater, Florida, or wherever you live, and you're kind of a big dog where you live, right? And you come here and you realize you're like the smallest fish in the pond, So Coleman's always a good, from the very beginning. I mean, he snuck me into this EVC meeting. I had no idea, and I was like, oh wow, I really don't fit in here, right? And then he got me into the first meeting for EMDs and above, and I'm like, wow, I am the littlest guy in here, But every time, we were in Hawaii 2 years ago, and I forgot who it was, but he made everybody go around and everyone had to tell what their income was, right? And it gets to me, everybody's like, oh, I make $5 million a year, I make $6 million. I come in, I'm like, I make $240. And I was so embarrassed at the time. This is years ago, right? And then he came to my rescue. He was like, come on, guys, isn't it kind of funny that she has to feel bad? She has to feel embarrassed and bad about her income because she's doing pretty decent, Anyway, so this is great. I love being in an environment where we're challenged, where we love on each other, and this is just such a great place for personal growth. You guys are in the right place. This is what they say, it's a self-improvement program with a compensation plan attached to it, The only thing that you can do wrong here is quit, and thank you guys so much. By the way, I do a whole talk on debt. I did a video, but it's actually longer than my slot to speak tonight. So you can find it on my YouTube channel. And you can connect up with me on social media, the Instagram, the Zoe Abbott, and feel free. This is a specialty that I have, definitely, in handling clients' debt credit, and I'm happy for you guys to take those tools that'll help you grow your businesses, get to your promotions and build your teams. All right, thank you so much.